In this video, I'm gonna put a new staircase off of this deck right here. And we're gonna do it right now. This deck currently has a staircase on the other side that goes down to the backyard, and I wanna change the location of the stairs. So I figured this would be a good spot. I'm gonna show you how I cut the stringers, how I pour a pad, take this handrail down, do the spindles and everything. And as with most of my videos, I will say that there are a ton of different ways to do this. I'm just gonna show you how I do it. So this is more like a how I video than a how-to video. But if you need to do something like this, I hope it helps. So let's get to it. The first thing I'm gonna do is put a nice straight 2x4 here on top of the decking. And I'm gonna go to about where I think the stairs are gonna go. And in my case, since they're going wherever I want, I'll just show you an example. Hold this level. We'll just say, to keep it easy, 57. So now I can take 57 and divide it by the riser that I want, 7 inches, and it'll tell me how many risers I'm gonna have. So if I do 57 divided by 7, which is what I want my risers at, I get 8.14. And since I can make up whatever I want for the height, I can actually do this 56 divided by 7, and it'll show me 8 risers. Again, your situation might be different, but this is gonna work for me, and that includes this one right here, because we are measuring from the top of this decking. I'm gonna be using 2x12s for my stair stringers, and this can get a little complicated, but it really is pretty simple. I went into a lot of detail in another video, but this is basically what you would do. So let's say that right here, I want my 7-inch riser. So I hold this frame and square at 7 inches, and then for me, I'm gonna make the tread right here, the actual step, 10 inches, and that's just to the framing. I'm also gonna have an overhang with the decking to about 11.25. So I hold it here, and then I make a mark like this. And then for the next one, I just move this square down here, match up my 10 to this point, and then hold this 7 right here and do another one. And I just do that the whole way. I already did this though. So here's my first stringer. What you'll notice about it is that this is 7 inches, but down here, this is actually 6 inches. And the reason for that is because you have to consider whatever you're using for the treads. So for instance, right here, I'm gonna have decking. So right now it's 7 inches from here to here. And then when I put decking here and here, it will also be 7 inches because it's gonna raise this up. So from here to, we'll say here, that's gonna be 7 inches. But at the bottom, I am not going to have decking down here. This is gonna go right on a concrete pad. So this decking will end up being about 1 inch higher, and then right down to the pad, 7 inches. So you gotta take that into account. And then up here on your last one, you just wanna square this and cut it this way. And then this is going to be attached to the deck. So once you have one of these cut, you can hold this to the edge of the 2x12, making sure that it's even all the way. And then you can use this as a template. It's a good idea to mark this template or template. And once you have it lined up, you can trace this out and you can make as many stringers as you need. Typically you want to have your stair width 36 inches or more. If I did 36 inches here, it would be about that. And I think it might look a little awkward. So I'm gonna have a nice big staircase, and I'm going to start it right here and then end it right here on the sides of these 4x4s. This angle might make it a little tricky to do handrail and everything, but I'm gonna make it work. So if you have 36 inches for stairs, I would suggest using 3 stringers. In my case, since I'm making it a little bigger, I'm gonna cut 4. One important thing, before you cut all of your stringers, cut one and kind of put it about where it's gonna go. So hold it down 7 inches or whatever your measurement is from the framing and take a look, make sure you're happy with it. In my case, that is gonna be perfect. And then you check the other side, something like that, and then make sure you're happy with where they land this way, square them off the deck. For instance, that one can go that way a little bit at the bottom. Now that I know I'm good, I'm happy with that, I can cut all my stringers. I'm just gonna prop this up so I can cut the stringer out. You can see right here, I'm stopping, not overcutting these. I'll use a jigsaw to finish this cut. Now that I have my stringers cut, I want to figure out exactly where they're going, and then that will tell me what size I can build my form to. So I'm going to hold my square here, mark there, and then square this down. Of course, it's going to be right on that line. You can also use a level. The first one's going right there. The other side, we'll do the same thing. So now I'll hold my tape measure to this line that you can barely see. And then over here, 53 1/8. So since we held our stringer to this side of this 4x4, when we run the handrail down, I want something to attach it to down here. So I'm gonna put a 4x4 on this side. So I wanna add a 4x4 measurement to the form on this side and the other. These are 3 5/8. I can just measure both of them like this and add 7 1/4 to that measurement. So 53 1/8 plus 7 1/4. We have 60 3/8. And that is the measurement of the width of the form that I want to build. I want my stringer to be sitting on this pad the entire way. So I'll start right here, and then I'm gonna basically make another step out here with the pad. So I want 11 1/2 plus 11 1/4. So that's 22 3/4. That's how wide I want the form, or how deep. So it'll be something like that. I think that's gonna work out. I'm gonna use a 2x8 for the face, and the rest of this I'll use 2x6 because I want that step. I want to add another step because this is on a hill. So this is 7 1/2. That's gonna be perfect. I can bury it a 1/2 inch and I'll have the same exact step. I wanna be careful with what I use because you have this right here. So you wanna use something that's decent because that will not finish nice with concrete. So the form is gonna be about right here, and I have my stringer set up on the other side, and you'll see this rock, I think, is gonna be in the way. And another thing, when you're doing this, you're gonna wanna put a level on here and make sure that you're good. This stringer has to go up about that much, so keep that in mind. Just move these for now. I'll try and find a flat surface to assemble this. And then I'm gonna use 3-inch screws. That way I can take the screws out afterwards when it's time to peel the form off. So just make sure the top is good. The bottom doesn't really matter so much, like that. And do that same thing with the rest of them. let's give that a shot. Get a rough idea here. So to get this where you want it to be, just keep checking, making sure this is square. Do one side at a time, and then use a level. And you do actually, or I should say, I want to pitch these stairs this way just a little bit for water runoff, which it is kind of pitched. Just keep checking that. So after a little adjusting, making sure I'm 7 inches down with the framing, and that's my mark for 3 5/8, and it is right to the edge of that where I want it. And I can adjust the height of the form just slightly if I wanted to. Make sure this is what I want. And now I'm gonna make some stakes out of some strapping. I'm gonna start right here with this corner. Try not to move it. Make sure I don't put these where the stringers need to go so I can match them up. Might need some shims too. That's looking good. Yep, pitching slightly down, square off of the deck. I'm on my line. I think we're good. This would be a good time to check for square with this form. How to do that is just hold this like this. I have 68 and 7/16, and then you want this to be the same or real close. 68 and 7/16. Boom. I just want to pitch it just slightly. It's pitched a lot right now, so I just want to lift it up to where it is pitched slightly and get this secured. And now I'm going to backfill all along the outside. Just don't want this to move. I can make micro adjustments as I do this, but this is pretty much where it's going. As you can see, I'm an inch or two below here, which is what I want. Just want a nice, solid base. Graded base all over the place. This is what I'm going to use before I pour the concrete. This stuff is nice because it has crushed rock and it has all this dust. It compacts really nicely and helps with drainage, which is what I want. Compact this stuff as I go. I'm just gonna make sure this stuff is tucked in underneath, especially in this corner. We gotta stop the concrete from flowing out there. This pad does not have to be 7 1/4 inches all the way. I just want it that in the front and on the side here because I'm going to grade this so that this is a step. Back here, I'm going to fill this with another 3 inches or so and slope it down to nothing, and then I can fill it with concrete. As I do this, I just want to make sure I'm not pushing the form out, so I'm going to keep checking it. Just make a nice big pile over here for now. I'm not going to put rebar in this just because I don't think I need it. I'm using high strength concrete, but I had this laying around at my house, so I'm just going to use this. It's like chicken wire. It'll just give it a little more strength. Do what you want. Again. And now we mix. This is something I should have done before I started mixing, but I want to cut these off even. So I'm just going to kind of hang around and babysit this a little bit and let it cure overnight. So the next day, this doesn't look great. I don't do a lot of concrete. Leave me some tips in the comments. It's not gonna be cured completely, but I think it's cured enough to tear the forms off. Yeah, that looks better. Sure made a mess, didn't I? Yeah, not what I wanted. Not what I wanted at all. So the sides didn't come out exactly as I'd hoped for, so I'm gonna touch it up because I want it to be a nice looking step. Bag mix just has too much aggregate in it and not enough cement. I should have added this to the mix. Live and you learn. I need something to hang those stringers from. I'm gonna clean up this 2x8 and use this. That 2x8 is gonna go right here. Take a measurement. I'll go 55. 55. These are required now. You install this on the deck first, and then you put the stringer up. The only thing about that is you have it pushing it out a little bit. That's gonna mess things up by that much. Not a huge deal, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna inset that 2x8 to make up for that. About a 1/4 inch, 3/16 of an inch, and that should make up for this right here. So I'll hold it up here and inset it just a little bit. Use 3.5 inch galvanized framing nails. Just keep it like that for now, and I'm gonna check it. If I slide this in, and then see the head of the nail, that's gonna be perfect. And that way, the stringer will stay exactly where I wanted it to stay. Now on the back side, I'm gonna attach this with some 2x8s. So I'll cut 3 at 14 inches. Now we are finally ready to attach our stringers. I'm just gonna make a line on this side so that I know where to put this, because I want these on the inside so they don't show. Hold it just like that. This is the top. I put this where it needs to be, 7 inches down in the framing. That, and then hold this up like this, right where that bend is, down here. And I mark the top so I can nail this right on the line. Joist hanger nails. Put the stringer back. Measure again. And you can bend the hanger like this. I'll put these 2.5 inch joist hanger screws in here. This is where my other stringers are going, and I just want to install all these the same exact way. Now we can take a measurement right here, and this will be the size of the decking, but I'm gonna add 2 inches so I have an overhang on this side and an overhang on that side of 1 inch. So I'm not gonna start up here. I'm actually gonna start on the second step here and then work my way up. So I'm gonna put this first stringer close to where it needs to be, 3 5/8 from the side, because that's what the 4x4 post is. And then the decking, I'm gonna overhang it right here 1.5 inches. So that way, when I do my 3/4 riser, I'll have 3/4 of an overhang. Put 1 nail right here. Get this side to where it needs to be. And then I'll just measure in between here and make these the same down there. I'm going to do one more about halfway, just to make sure everything is staying the same. So this one I have to bend it in a little bit. Nail that side first. Now the stairs are where they are. I can cut the rest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 at 53 1/4. We're staying consistent. Perfect. And what I'm gonna do is hold them tight. As time goes on, they will shrink up and then you'll have a gap here. So I like to put them nice and tight when I install them. Now I'm gonna do the 4x4s on the bottom here, and I'm gonna take this 8-foot 4x4 and just cut it in half. I'm gonna put the 4x4 right here. I'm not gonna worry about cutting the top just yet. I can do that after. And I'm just gonna hold it out a little bit like this, about 1 inch. That way, when I go to do my riser, I'll have this little 1/4 inch reveal here and it'll hide the end cut. I think it'll look better that way. Same thing on this side. Now I want to make this plumb. It's going to go this way, and then I'm going to run some lags, some timber locks in here, 4 inch. And I can adjust this when I go to put the decking on a little bit. And then if I need to, I can shim it on the top or on the bottom. I just want to get it plumb this way first. So I'm going to hold my decking where it needs to be, and I'm going to mark right here because this one is much more plumb than the other. And then over here, I can hold this so that it's plumb, and you'll see when I move it, this will change. So I just want to make sure I'm marking it so that I can make this plumb. And then I can lift it up, hold it 1.5 inches like that, and then mark it there. I guess I could mark it here. This piece might just fall off, but I'll cut it out. And the same thing on this side. I'm going to cut this out. Perfect. I can pull that in and nail it. You're gonna have to keep checking those. When you do the handrail or the railing, it'll tighten all this up. Now we can finally remove this and walk down the stairs for the first time. Test them out. Ah, there we go. Sweet. Moving on. Now I'm going to do the railings, and typically this is really easy. All you would do is hold this right here, mark a line, and then do the same at the top and cut it. But up here, this is going to be a little tricky. You can see this is at an angle. So I did consider kind of filling this in with a ripped 2x4 like this, so it would be square, but I'm going to try and do a compound miter here. So this is the angle. I can take my pencil like this and just kind of do that and get that angle. So I will cut this first and make sure it's good before I cut the bottom one. I'm going to say that that's pretty good. And then that same angle should work up here. And I'm gonna have to figure something out. Probably hold this down and cut a 2x4 to go to here and then redo this cap. A little tricky, but that's okay. You know what? This is just getting too complicated. So I'm gonna make it easier on myself and just kind of make a triangle right here, so that way when I go to do this, I can just make square cuts. Let's try that. And now to get the measurements, 2.5. Okay. Hey, I think that's gonna work. Down here, what I'm gonna do is cut that, and then I'm gonna drop this down like this and kind of notch around here. Nice. That'll work. Now I'll cut this flush. Should make things easier. So now I can just mark this and cut it straight. Okay, this is how I want my top cap to be, just to the top of there, and then I'll do something here afterwards. So I'll hold this here and mark it. And I want this piece to go to that line, just like that. And then down here, on the bottom, I can mark that top. And then I can take a nice straight full 2x4, hold it on that line and the one on the top. And I can mark this 4x4 so I can cut it. And a better way to do this is to measure from the front of the deck to this line, 33 1/8. I'm gonna come down here, measure to the front of this step, and see how close I am. 33 1/8 is right here. And that tells me that that is probably out of plumb. And I think these angles, I think I can shift that at the top. So let me see. So that's definitely out of plumb. So I can push this in like that as I attach it. So I'm actually gonna go with this line and cut that, and then the top cap will go on top of that. You can cut this before, but I find it easier to do this. Just be safe, be careful. Now we can actually attach these. Go about that far in. Spikes. And now I can hold the 2x4 here. It's my line. And remember, I want to push that one out a little bit, so I'm going to cut this a little bit long. I'll just add about 1/8. Top. And then at the top, I can push this out a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't push the bottom out of plumb. So you could use a T-bevel or an angle finder to find this angle, but usually with stairs, it's 40 degrees. So I'll just cut one end 40 degrees. Now I'm going to leave this long at the bottom and attach it up here so that it's even right there. I'm fine with that. And put a couple here as I go down. Just make sure it's all the same all the way down. And down here. I'm going to measure 2 inches. Right here, and I used to cut this angle just like this, but then I had kids and realized that sharp pointy things aren't welcome around me and my children. So I'm just going to cut it square, so it's like this. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Same, but a little different. So on this side, I remembered a little trick to make things a lot easier. Putting the balusters on, doing it without the top cap on. And it depends on how you are with a saw or what you want to do. But what I'm going to do is just put them in at the bottom and at the top, and then I'll cut them afterwards instead of having to cut them one by one. And these ones already have the 45 on them from the store. If not, you can cut a 45 on them. And what I like to do is just take a 2x4 and hold it here. It's going to be the same on both sides. Actually, to make sure that it's going to be the same, why don't we start at the bottom? So I just hold that 45 where it touches pretty much even with the bottom. And then at the top, I can do this as long as this is plumb, it'll make these plumb. One nail, make sure they're not too long. And then just do that all the way up. You can also use screws if you want these to really pulled. So you can do it with a circular saw like that, or a Sawzall, or whatever you're comfortable with. For the balusters on the other side, I'm just going to take a measurement and see what I have to cut these at. We'll do 33. Once you get one cut, it'll make it easier. You can just line them up like this and mark it. And I'm starting from the same place, so these will match those. Sure, good. Now we're going to try and make this look better. I'm going to take this old top cap off. Bring this straight out. I don't even have to cut it. So I'm gonna mark this an inch. This is a pretty unique situation. I don't expect you to have to do this. I'll cut that there. And just so I don't cut into the top cap, set this. I don't really know what to do on this side, but I'm going to start by taking this off. And I'll cut a 45, and I want this about 58 inches. So I don't know if I have many options here. I guess what I'm going to do is a 45 like this, a piece this way, and hopefully it doesn't dry up and just fall off. When I do the 45, I do it right in the middle of the 4x4. And I'll cut a new one because this is junk, but dang it! This little guy. So now I guess I'll try and match somewhat the other side. 1 inch off of here. Now we can do our risers, and I'm using 1x8. I'm gonna rip it down, cut them to length. See if this one works for all of them, and then I can cut all of them at the same time, and then put them in. And that height works for the bottom, works for here. How about the length? This one might be tricky. No? That would work. And I should mention that if you wanted to, before you put this piece of decking on, if you want to put blocks in between here and screw some mason screws down into this, or hammer some concrete nails in and then attach the stringers, you can do that. But the weight of this is just, it's gonna hold it here. So, and all my hangers, it's not going anywhere, but that's an option. I think that's gonna work for all of them. It's okay if there's gaps. There's gonna be gaps everywhere anyways, because it's a deck. We'll start at the top and work our way down. So now we have a really solid, nice looking, wide staircase with a nice concrete pad. And of course, every situation is going to be different. As I said in the beginning of the video, this is more like a how I and less of a how to. But if you needed to add some stairs to an existing deck, I hope this video helps. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. And we're gonna do it right now. Good, Lauren?
Great.
You know what? Hold on. That one did not want to cut. Try that again. Whoa. You wanna do that again? Is it 3 inches? Close enough. Am I over-explaining in this one, Lauren? I want to have enough information, but I don't want to repeat myself. You're just gonna have to cut out the repeats. I'm blaming it on you if it is repetitive. There's an easier way to do it. I'm just not doing it. Make this look easier. How do I twist it? I knew it was gonna fall. In place. Part always sucks. It's definitely chipmunks. What am I gonna do here, Lauren? That's what I wanted. Filming that, because that was it. Woo. Right? I don't know. Somebody trim that. Is that gonna cause problems? This sucks. It's sharp too. Love Lauren. It worked, Lauren.
Thank you so much.
Nice idea by me. No, I do not have a concrete mixer.
Ready. Okay.
How funky is your chicken? 1 stinky. I have a feeling I'm gonna break this hoe. 2 stinky. Try not to breathe that in. 3 stinky.
What is stinky?
It's from Sesame Street, it's the count. 4 stinky. Oh, sorry. 5 stinky. Oh. Man, 5.5 stinky. Now we're gonna make some magic happen. Maybe keep that in there or maybe not. There is no doubt in my mind that I messed this up. It's like too wet, but too dry at the same time. Less of a broom finish and more of a roughing it the hell up. You could just show the broom. I'm done with the camera. You wanna see it fail? Is that why? What in the world? Should I have waited? Sorry. Yeah, not what I wanted. Not what I wanted at all. That's okay. I play a professional on YouTube. I can fix it. What did I do? Was the mix too wet or not wet enough? I think it may not have been wet enough. I heard that wet concrete is weak concrete though, so hopefully it's gonna be the same color. Should I just retire? Whoopsie poopsie, that was a tough angle. Oh, it's not gonna stay. Of course it's not gonna stay. Whoopsie poopsie. Not the best cut in the world, huh? So I'll mark this. No, I won't. If you need to, you can yell at me and say slow down.
I'm quick.
Lauren, cut that last part out. We're gonna do this instead because I have no idea what I'm doing ever. Yeah, I don't do shorts anymore. I ain't doing them anymore. I'm above that. Don't make a horrible cut and I won't have to show it. Such a cute little saw. Help me, I'm not strong enough. Excuses. Oh, who put this deck here? Are you serious? This looks different than the other side. That sucks, huh? How am I gonna do this? Sawdust right in your face. Are you okay with that?
Yep.
When this falls apart next year, I'll do something different. I'm not joking, I'm having a hard time. Throw them bows. the fixer is here.